Taurus was good. Now this is going to be for my Taurus risings. Excuse me, Taurus risings. This is going to be your January monthly astrology horoscope, if you will. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna break it down. What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Dave B watching Beyond Astrology. So, um, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let's jump in saying for all the new people. Shout out to y'all for the people who been subscribing and supporting. Thank y'all. You know what I'm saying? This is something new I'm doing for the top of 26. We're gonna see how it go, how I feel about it, how y'all feel about it. If it goes well, let me know if y'all vibing with it, drop a comment. If I'm not, drop a comment, let me know. But anyway, I want to go ahead and get y'all right. So the way I'm going to be doing this is based on y'all rising signs. You can look at it if you're a Taurus sun and stuff like that, but I do it based on rising signs because I'm specifically looking at house placement, house alignment, so that you know what the focus is. Because wherever the sun is transiting, that's the focus for whatever time period we going through. So in this particular time, we're going to be looking at your ninth house and your 10th house. Now, some people, depending on the degree of their sign, you all might have overlapping houses. Y'all might have houses that are real big, real small. So, just, look at this video, but then check out other videos that can kind of give you an idea of where the sun is going to be at. That's kind of the main point. So anyway, let's jump right in. So for y'all, it's going to be the ninth house for the most part. Capricorn season, we're in the middle of Capricorn season, and it's going to be transiting, I think, by the end of January through your 10th house, which is going to be Aquarius. So for the most part, now Taurus, y'all vibe with Taurus risings, y'all already vibe with the Capricorn energy regiment. Only thing is Tauruses like to go a little bit more slow. Capricorn could be a little faster. It's an initiator rather than a fixed energy. That Taurus is a fixed. So sometimes Tauruses like to kind of, y'all take y'all time, which is appropriate during other times and for your own mix. But you might kind of find this season to kind of need you to move a little bit quicker or move a little bit more um it's decision making time whenever we're going through a cardinal season. So that's a cardinal sign is the season. So this one is Capricorn. Whenever we're going through a cardinal season, it's about initiating, it's about getting up and moving, making a decision. So there might be a decision that need to be made, and the thing about it is you already got the practical sense to know what decision needs to be made, but you need to get your feet moving and make it. Now, it's the start of 2026. A lot of people are trying to celebrate and start new things. I like to understand, like, what people think spring cleaning is really what needs to happen during the winter time as a resolution. Like resolution is like to resolve something. So you're putting an end in death to something because that's what the Capricorn is energy is initiating. It's the death of something, a transition, transformation of something. So you want to be considering how you want to transform yourself to position yourself properly for the rest of 2026, specifically too, that like in Aries season where we really kick things up and we start moving. And that's the new year for real, where you can get into your bag. So right now though, with the sun going through your ninth house, I would say tr- this kind of came up and I like to, everything in moderation, everything in balance. I would say do not take nobody advice right now unless you want to unless it's somebody you would swap realities with. If it's not somebody you would swap realities with, do not listen to a single person trying to give you advice right now because you need to be conclusion you've come to life. Now, it's degrees of this, but I really do feel like because, like, on the low octave of things, like, I don't know, I'm an advocate of people trusting and believing themselves. And I know that's dangerous too, because not everybody is, um, not everybody is self-aware. Not everybody is like, but I'm gonna assume if you found my channel and stuff like that, you kind of have an idea of where you going in life. I think I genuinely believe everybody to a degree knows what people are learning. Everyone's on different levels. The more you know yourself, the better off you'll be with this type of like advice. I feel like you'll know if you need advice. Like I said, and I think this is a general rule in general. I think this applies for the most part. It's like you really don't want to take advice from anyone you wouldn't swap realities with. And that's on any level. If someone's trying to give you money advice, if their pockets don't look like how you would want your pockets to look, don't take their money advice. If someone is talking about career advice and they hate their job, you probably don't want to take their advice for that. And I think specifically too for earth signs, it's like y'all know. Y'all already kind of had that ingrained in y'all back in y'all mind, but it's especially important at this time, um because we're dealing with the ninth house. The ninth house is all about lifestyle, so you really want to pay attention. If someone doesn't, it doesn't even make practical sense for you to take advice from somebody that's going to lead to how you're trying to construct your lifestyle if they're not already living a life that you would want to also emulate. And that also goes with content. Watch what you're consuming, because the type of content you're consuming, this is occupying your psyche, and this is occupying the different things that are allowing you and that are giving you visions subconsciously. Like, you know, I don't think the problem nowadays, like everybody will complain about social media and oh man, we getting bombarded with information. I think that, what people fail to realize is that their algorithm is an extension of what they consciously search, and it becomes ingrained in your subconscious. So reprogram your algorithm to look like how you want life to look like for you. And all you got to do from that point is now just emotionally regulate what you're interacting with and give yourself some moderation in between, and you'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? It's not the end of the world. Um, but it's big for y'all, during this time period. You still got Uranus going through your sign. So it's real late degrees in Taurus. So you've kind of gone through the transformation of trying to be an individual, and hopefully you found value in your individuality on some level. So with that kind of being said, you're preparing, Uranus is preparing to go into your second house if it's not already in there, which means, you know, we're going into a time where, like, everybody, from all the people watching this, you might be, depending on what you're into and your interest is. And of course, in a one-on-one reading we can get more personal about this. I'm open for readings if you want astrology. I offer all kinds. I do readings based upon what a person's needs are. So if you need a reading, just email me at davebeyond95@gmail.com with astrology help in the subject line, and then whatever your question is, whether it's a question or an actual request for a reading. And we could break down, because everything is dependent on you as an individual and what your individual goals are. So I'm keeping these kind of broad. For the most part, though, you're going through this month in particular. I'm not sure when Uranus goes direct again, but for the most part, everybody is preparing themselves for what 2026 is about to look like, which is going to be, forward motion, right? Forward motion on different levels, trying to advance in some kind of way. So with it going through your second house, that's a value in things like that. Like, value what you have to offer to the world and what you're trying to essentially build off of, build onto. So, considering what you want the next couple steps to look like, this is a good time to kind of plan that. But if you got too many different people in your mind, you're listening to too many different sources of advice. Even, again, like I said, content, you're watching a bunch of content trying to learn how to do something or trying to prepare yourself to do something. Learning is good, but you want to make sure that you're not getting kind of lost in just getting a bunch of information instead of actually trying to go out and experience things, because that's another aspect of the ninth house too. You want to make sure you're experiencing whatever it is that you want to do. You want to do small forms of that to lead up and warm up for the springtime. Right now is a perfect time to start to experiment, get out there and try different things, and then also learn how to, because especially as with Earth, right? The more and more you actually physically do it, the more and more you're going to have faith in it, the more you're going to have confidence in it. And so you want to make sure you're crafting that aspect of things so that you can hit the ground running and not be kind of stumbling and falling, just because you haven't put in enough physical real time in with whatever it is you're trying to do. That's going to help keep you on track for, like, what your actual plans are and things like that. And that's the thing too. Like Earth needs to physically get ingrained and involved in whatever you're doing. So as a Taurus rising, if you're still on the fence and like trying to think through every little particle and every little step and that, like you can get caught up. And that's what I mean by fixed energy versus this earthly cardinal energy, where you want to have some kind of movement about you during this time period. Now, near the end of the month, the we got like Neptune going into Aries. So that's another thing that, and now that's taking place in your 12th house, which is interesting, for the most part, for most Taurus risings, it's going to happen in your 12th house, that transition. So your dreams kind of are being reignited. So, don't be surprised if there's like new inspiration kind of brewing if it hasn't already. New inspiration, and also Saturn going into um Aries as well later on in the year. So, you're gonna have kind of a jam-packed year of movement, a lot more movement than you might be used to as a Taurus rising. So, don't let it scare you, but prepare yourself, like even like kind of like stretching to me, like whether it's like you take it metaphorically to like stretch your idea of what's possible or actually physically stretch. And I think that could also be beneficial for you, like getting into some yoga or something like that would be really good because you want to be nimble. Especially like Uranus already kind of is getting through your sign, but Uranus jumping into Gemini. Again, it's a lot of things that are going to pick up the pace. And then, so you want to just make sure that you're up for the race. And it's a fire horse year. So it's going to be a lot more forward movement, a lot more needing to kind of just get in the mix. It's a masculine type energy year. So you want to get in the mix, and that might be a little hard for a Taurus who prefers to take their time. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing crazy. Um, Now, the sun is also going to transit into your 10th house. So now the importance of actually getting out and experiencing pieces of what you want to be experiencing for the rest of the year, the importance of that comes into Aquarius season, which is going to look for you is going to be the 10th house. So now, when the sun is in the 10th house, that's where we get exposed and seen for what it is that we have built a reputation around. You can only build a reputation around things that you are doing and seen doing. So that's why you want to kind of get in the mix and start experiencing pieces of what it is you want to be doing for the rest of the year or the rest of, in 5 years and things like that, long-term thinking. I always like long-term thinking around this time as well because Capricorn is the blueprinter. So you're blueprinting, you're constructing what the future will look like in your mind, but then you're taking practical steps on getting that done little by little. A lot could change in 1 year, a lot could change in 6 months. You know what I'm saying? So, put yourself in that mindset of like how you would like your life to look in the next 6 months, 10 months, 12 months, you know, so on and so forth. Y'all get what I'm saying? But um, in the month of January, late January, Aquarius season specifically. Now, Aquarius is where you get into a little bit of a friction because, Taurus is about value, Aquarius is about uniqueness, and sometimes, see, Aquarius is way more. I don't like it's both fixed signs, so it's stubborn in different kinds of ways. Sometimes like Aquarius can be stubborn just to be different. Sometimes Taurus could be stubborn just because they want to do things how they want to do them. So you might come into a little friction depending on is it'll be the 10th house. So it's like being that you created a status for yourself, it's going to attract maybe different associates and things of that nature, people who want to be involved and help you out with what you got going on in the 10th house space, your business and what you're known for, or people who are kind of like lurking around, not really your type of people. Um, Taurus is a little different when it comes to the Aquarius energy because like Tauruses are not always the most, depending on what other signs you have is going to determine. But like, let's say you're not a social Taurus, you're not a Taurus that likes to kind of be in big crowds and things like that. And it doesn't actually have to be a big crowd thing because like what you want to just focus on is make sure, kind of like I was saying before, like you want to make sure that you are constructing your own path. So if you took a lot of advice, you might find yourself on the lower octave of things where you're surrounded by a bunch of people or an association or a network of people who you don't value or don't see the value in you within the context of that social space. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you haven't actually been going out and experiencing and doing things in the space or whatever it is that you want to do, you might not have the respect or the appreciation of people in that space to kind of support what you got going on. So, your reaction to that could be two ways. You can either bulldoze through and say, fuck y'all, I'm here. This is what I do, and I am fly with it. Or you can that could maybe damage your status or make you feel like you should shy away and hide your gifts and your talents when that's not really, I mean, how you interact with that is on you. But I wouldn't suggest that. I think that, you want to be in a position where you have the confidence to take up space no matter who is giving you a thumbs up or not. You know what I'm saying? And if they don't value you, have the strength to kind of separate from all of that and cultivate your own space, because that's the thing. You don't want to be in spaces in which you're not appreciated. So if you notice that going into the 10th, going into Aquarius season, you notice like, man, like I've been doing this and I'm actually pretty good at what I do, but everybody around in this space is too stuck up to actually fuck with me or interact with me, or I don't like their energy, I don't like messing with them. Then you already know, okay, let me cultivate my own network, and it might require you to be isolated or alienated or like deal with the feelings of that, because like just because you feel that way doesn't mean that's the truth. It just might be what you have to do in order to bring the right people around you, the right network. So it's kind of like don't sell out type energy, and it's dealing with the 10th house. So you want to stand in that space and you want to dominate that space. You want to, really be the nucleus in that space. But then there's another reality of it where you are kind of seen and accepted into the space that you want to be, or you've already, being that you went out and was experiencing things in that field that you want to be known for, and you was learning about that space and you was participating in it, you might already find yourself in that network naturally. And if people are responding to you well, then okay, cool. Now y'all can talk about what we want to build and what we might want to plan going into the next year. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like that's for the Taurus risings. I think that's kind of it for the most part. So hopefully this was helpful. Like I said before, leave a comment if it was helpful. If it wasn't, leave a comment. Let me know. I need the feedback so that we can continue to make, I can continue to provide y'all with good videos that can continue to help you and other Taurus risings and things like that. But for the most part, like I said, hit me up for a reading. I'm open for them. DaveBeyond95 at gmail.com. And I will catch y'all on the next one. Have a great month. I love y'all. Shout out to all my Tauruses. Much love. Peace.